let's talk a little bit about Teddy Bridgewater. As I said in the opening of the show, I admire Teddy Bridgewater. I think Teddy Bridgewater has done an amazing job for his community. He's done an amazing job as a professional athlete, as a college athlete. To me, when I watched him play at Louisville, and you know, Teddy Bridgewater was slated to come to the University of Miami until that debacle with Randy Shannon and them trying to get Randy Shannon out of there. He changed course and he ended up going up to Louisville with Charlie Strong, and he played on a very competitive Louisville team, one of the best quarterbacks to come out of Louisville, in my opinion. And he went on to play for the Minnesota Vikings. He was a high first round draft pick, and you know, he lit it up because he was a very good quarterback. He was just talented naturally, you know, in a lot of ways. His IQ was extremely high when it came to, you know, his position and knowing the game and knowing where his players needed to be and where the defenders were going to be. I'm going to ask and start out with Najee. It looks like Teddy Bridgewater has been suspended by Miami Northwestern High School. That has made national news. I know it's been big news down in South Florida, especially the Miami area, that he did help some of the kids with some benefits because the school wasn't putting up any money to do it. Whether the school had the money or not, they didn't put up any money to help these kids. And one thing I will say, the schools make a ton of money off these kids, but a lot of times the schools don't want to reach out and go that extra distance for these kids, in my opinion. And that goes for all high schools or all schools. Doesn't necessarily have to be a high school. It could be a college. It could be any competitive sport that's an institution, whether it's high school or whether it's college, that these schools, they benefit over money that's made from winning championships. I know USC made a ton of money off of Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart and, you know, those guys at USC, you know, Lindell White. I'm not going to leave him out. He was a superstar running back at SC. And they built the Galen Center. All types of buildings surfaced up on USC's campus. I remember when the Galen Center was under construction back during that time when USC beat Oklahoma in the Orange Bowl. So, Najee, help me understand why Miami Northwestern would want to go and suspend Teddy Bridgewater. And let me just add another little bit of spice to it. That Teddy Bridgewater doesn't work for Northwestern High School. He is not an employee for Northwestern High School. He is not an employee of Florida Coaches Association. Tell me what you think.
It's crazy for you to even say that a high school, you know, suspended a millionaire. I mean, he has money. He don't need to actually work there. So it's more of it's more of volunteer work, and he want to just give back to the kids. That's what it really is. So I don't know if they mad because he's going the extra mile than what the school is doing, and he's making them look bad. So what they're trying to do is, I guess, you know, implanting their authority on him or something. I don't know, but maybe it's just him making them look bad as a school, that this one person is doing a whole lot more than what a whole school is, and then you got a whole bunch of envious people. That's what I think, because that's what it sounds like. I mean, how can you just think about how can you suspend a millionaire? He got way more money than everybody that works there combined.
I agree, and for him to want to reach out and help kids, I mean, the perception of it may, you know, from the school's perspective, and I'm not speaking for the school because I'm not going to even defend the school. I think the school is wrong for what they've done. If they wanted to deal with Teddy Bridgewater, they should have dealt with that behind closed doors, and they should have had it where they talked to him and got all of the details, and that should have been settled behind closed doors before it ever made a news feed.
Why it had hit the public?
Yes,
like,
it
wow,
did not have hit the public because the school, according to the information that I'm getting here, self-reported on this. And I'm assuming the school was under the impression that they could face, they could face punishment from, the Florida High School, Association. I'm not speaking for the school because I don't agree with the school. Isaiah, tell me, it looks like Teddy Bridgewater spent over $200,000 of his own money. of team expenses. That team went to the state championship and they won the state championship. It included costs for training camp. It included costs for team gear, weekly meals, recovery services, and transportation. You think he should be punished for doing this for these kids?
Well, this is society at its best, and jealousy and stupidity and ignorance all intertwined in this case right here. You know, we all as adults, I'm talking about people who has, a level head when we're thinking of our future, when we're thinking about kids that's growing up in the inner city and kids who having a fair shot and kids who can take their family out of poverty. And that's what Teddy Bridgewater has done. Teddy Bridgewater grew up in the projects, man, in Liberty City. I remember when he first signed on the dotted line to go to Louisville, and the thrill that his family got and the was surrounding him, and everybody was so happy to see this guy move on to another plateau in his life, to see poverty stricken and the drugs and all the mess that goes on in that area where he grew up, and to say this man might have a chance to get out of here. And he did it. He did it, man. And I think that's part of the thing that motivated him so deeply to go back, not only to his area, but this is the high school that he attended. This is his alma mater, man.
Exactly.
And then you get some scumbag who's jealous of him, who see that he's putting his money where his mouth is, his effort in the training and all the time. You cannot put a money value on the things that he's done, because it also proves when you have the resources how far you can go. You know, if I look at my high school, where I went to high school, Niceville High School, and you look at some of the other high schools around the country, man, you would start thinking, what in the world going on with these schools? Because Niceville is well funded. It has everything, man, everything. It has its own stadium. It has its own field house. It has enormous support from the community and backing from everybody, man. And then here is one person who's trying to help out some needy kids get punished for it. And they're trying to embarrass him for helping out some kids who couldn't even get home, who couldn't get a ride.
Helping the youth.
What about these kids going home? I'm going to tell you right now, most of the time when I played football, it's dark when you're going home.
Absolutely.
You don't know whether he stopped these kids from getting ambushed, from getting murdered.
Exactly.
Of Liberty City. None of this stuff came into play when they're talking about this. But the only thing you got is a bunch of grown people bickering about some stuff that this man done the right way. How about every time you look at it, or you get these millionaires like that go out there and buy a Rolls Royce and go buy this fancy house and go buy all their girlfriend cars and bags and all this foolishness. But this guy is helping kids. Perhaps one day, that same kid that he helped gonna help somebody else, and it snowballs and it cycles where it go on and on and on, just because of this man had a decent enough heart to help these kids out. They're not thinking about that. They're thinking about the stupidity of it, man. And now this thing has caught fire where everybody in the nation knows some local stuff about a high school player and coach who helped out somebody, who came back to his alma mater and helped out some young kids. I think it's shameful, man. I really think it's shameful. And the people who's bring on all of these allegations about him helping kids, they ought to be ashamed of themselves. Because this is the difference between a kid being a president, cop, a doctor, or a jailbird. Because it can go either way when you don't help these kids. These kids are screaming for help, man. And this is some of them only way out. This is their only way out.
That's their ticket out. That's true. So Teddy Bridgewater posted on social media, and I'm going to read off what he quoted and say here. Damn, people caused all this confusion. Got a phone call tonight, and it's no real investigation going on. I told you I have to be an employee to be investigated. Now, the paperwork thing still stands. but there was no investigation. We self-reported. Vern and his administrative homeboys want me gone, apparently, and tried to hire one of my dogs like bro wasn't gonna lace me up. The suspension came from Miami Northwestern High School, and it's impossible to suspend someone who don't work for you. So if I'm suspended from Miami Northwestern High School, that means I'm free to go to another school of my choice. But I'm not going anywhere. And if it comes down to it, I will volunteer from the bleachers like I used to in 2018 and 2019 when no one had a problem. And he says, this is the last post on this. So Najee, tell me, should he still hang around or should he go to another school to, coach another school against Northwestern?
I mean, should he punish the kids because of what other adults are doing? Now, that's really what you're saying. Is that it has nothing to do with the kids. The kids ain't doing anything wrong. They're doing their part, and they feed off of him. They feed what he's doing. It's other adults that's being salty about this. I mean, do you really want to punish them? Now, if they make it to the point that he cannot stand for him, he cannot. Like, he physically can't do it.
Or not even come around the program, right? That type of thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If they completely isolate him legally wise, or anything like that of sort, that he cannot be around them, then yes, of course, he has no other choice. He can go to another team and help up youth and make sure they don't go into the wrong side of the law. He can't punish the kids because of what other adults are doing.
I agree. I don't think he should. That's why he quoted as saying that he's not going anywhere. He's going to stay right there with his alma mater. He's going to do it from the stands if necessary. And the school should be thanking Teddy Bridgewater 10 times.
DC, what we failed to realize in this whole conversation, and I have heard this thing covered from many, many sources as well as we're talking about it. No one has yet to say that they told Teddy Bridgewater, oh, stop it, you can't do that. You can't give these kids a ride. You can't do that. No one has said that yet. Even in terms of this so-called bogus investigation, no one said that they came to Teddy and said, sir, you cannot give kids rides, you cannot buy them food, you cannot do anything for these kids. You cannot do it. No one said that yet. That means it's all a bunch of garbage that they're doing and punishing these young kids who's trying to find their way, man. And it's sad because here's a guy who's trying to make good of his platform. And this is a guy who's not that old. So these guys probably were 7, 8 years old when he was playing, and they understood his route and his way to make it to be a professional. You remember that stuff. And now they idolize this guy because he grew up in their neighborhood. And they're going to stop that? They're going to slice that off? They're going to cut this man's wrist off because he's doing something for his community? And it clearly showed that the one who's pulling the trigger on this thing probably don't give a crap about helping these kids. Only thing he's doing is picking up a little mangy paycheck every couple of weeks. So he's got a problem with the guy who's helping out.
Well, I'm gonna just leave. I'm gonna just say this. Maybe Vern and his homeboys didn't get they cut. They didn't get they Teddy Bridgewater didn't give them they cut. They basically trying to assert that, look, you need to break us off before you break them kids off. That's what I'm picking up from it. Help me to understand if I'm right or wrong now.
That's the craziest thing.
Because everybody at some level, especially when you're involved with any type of organization, whether it's college sports, whether it's any industry, somebody got their hand out for a cut to do a favor or to do something or allow something to happen. They got their hands stuck out to get paid. Maybe that could be a possibility. That's what I picked up from it,
That'll come out too shortly. Just give us some time.
Exactly.
Just give us some time.
Exactly. And, if Teddy Bridgewater is watching this or he gets a chance to watch this, look, bro, we have your back here. We know what you were doing was right. We know your intentions. We are on your side. So for sure, we think you should stick there until they tell you you can't stick there anymore. And then if that's the case, you know, you make a decision based on that. But, you know, I'm very, very happy with his production and his productivity from the point of when he left NFL football and he went back to his alma mater and his community to give back to that community. And that's what he's done so far, you know. So
I guarantee any other team in Miami right now, in high school, would love to get to have the type of platform he has right now.
exactly.
What he's contributing to the youth, to the other high school teams. Like, okay, ooh boy,
Yep.
all right, let them go if you want to. Let them go.
That's true. That's true. You know, Stephon Johnson, who's an ex-USC running back. He played in the NFL for a little bit of time. Very talented running back. When he played, he was a power runner. Stephon Johnson is the head coach at Dorsey High School here in Los Angeles. He has done an amazing job, and Dorsey is his alma mater. So he is doing what Teddy Bridgewater did, and he's getting Dorsey back on track to get back to national, respectability and be able to win a state championship. I went to a game last year with Dorsey and Crenshaw High School, and I was on Dorsey's sideline in the second half. And look, Coach Johnson has got an amazing staff. He's got some very talented players, and you can't do nothing but thank guys like that who come back to the community to help their community out. Now, as far as giving money to players or giving money to, people who are a part of an organization, they would have to investigate the whole district or the whole state, because that's happening. Trust me, it's just not getting out. That's happening. That's happening at places. That's happening in cities. It's just not getting out. These people are helping these kids. When I was in high school back in the mid 80s, I had an English teacher, and I was a little bit behind in my English class, and I wasn't going to pass that class. My teacher reached out to me and told me to come to her personal residence, which was in the nice part of town in the Buckhead side. I went to her residence. She had bought multiple books for me, study guides and things of that sort to help me learn. And she sat there on her personal time along with her husband, who was an executive at Coca-Cola at the time. And this wonderful lady helped me get through English to be able to pass in order to get my high school diploma. So if that's the case, when teachers and when administrators or coaches or anybody do something like that, they got to investigate the whole thing, and they got to self-report themselves. I'm talking about these big organizations like the NCAA and all of these organizations. What are you doing? You got to self-report, right? So self-report if you're going to do it. That's the way I see it, So we getting to the good part now. We done talked a little bit about Teddy Bridgewater. It gets me worked up that they doing this to this man, but now I can get calm.
You've reached the end of another episode of the DC Stewart Sports Talk podcast. Be sure to connect with us at Facebook and Twitter.com. Your voice is important, so head over to iTunes to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. Catch our next episode.